Hey everyone, welcome to the next session for the 2020 SOFA Summit. I'm pleased to share with you guys another deep dive into one of our neighborhoods here in Memphis, Tennessee. This is going to be a C-class neighborhood. It's going to be on the north side of town called Fraser. So the goal here is for you to understand how we analyze the deal, but also to get a better understanding of what the neighborhood looks like and the pros and cons of the individual investment itself. So let me share my screen here and let's begin. All right, so here's a wonderful map of Memphis. And on the left-hand side, you have downtown Memphis. Over here in the middle is going to be our office. And so we are focusing on the north side of town for this video here. We're really lucky. It makes things really easy to analyze the different neighborhoods because we have the Mississippi River running north and south on the west-hand side of the city. So as time goes on, the developers just started moving east. So the farther east you go on the north side of town, the newer, the larger, and the more expensive the properties become. So since we're in A class, B class, and C class neighborhoods, makes it really easy because here in Fraser, what we're going to talk about today, that's going to be a C class neighborhood. So depending on where you are within Fraser, it could be C minus, could be C plus. Then we have Raleigh, just to the right or to the east of Fraser, and this is going to be a B as in boy class neighborhood. So you have B minus all the way up to B plus. And then the next neighborhood over is going to be Bartlett, Tennessee. Bartlett's predominantly an A-class neighborhood. And then as you go out east, this is going to be Lakeland and even Arlington. This is what we call dollar signs, to where you can buy a house for $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, and you won't get any positive cash flow. So you might as well invest in your own backyard. So we focus on these three parts of town: Bartlett, Raleigh, and Fraser. And for today's session, we're going to dive deeper into the C-class part, which is going to be Fraser. So being on the north side of town, this is just a suburb of Memphis. It takes us about 15 minutes to get from Fraser to our office. So quick drive. The individual tenant that lives here in Fraser, they have multiple options for employment. Most notably, they can work downtown. That's only 10 to 15 minutes away. It's also very blessed because we do have this overbuilt interstate system. A lot of our tenants, they live in Fraser because they want to be close to family and friends, but they'll work on the south side of town where a lot of the employment is located. And that's another thing that's great about Memphis is even during 5 o'clock traffic, you can zip around the city and get from one side to the other in just a few minutes. All right, so diving even deeper into the Fraser location, some things that we really like about this part of town is going to be that this massive white, oddly shaped rectangle roof is going to be Nike's largest distribution center in the world. It is 2.8 million square feet, and that's about 49 football fields under roof. So it's one of the largest distribution centers in the United States of America, and it's definitely Nike's largest. So every single package, every shoe, every piece of apparel that Nike ships, whether it's anywhere in the US or the world, will actually touch base here in Memphis so they can stay organized. So that's a major employment driver for the area. And then it was so successful because this was built just a few years ago. And it has been so successful that now Amazon just decided to build a facility right across the street in the parcel just to the north here. Another massive distribution center. So let's pull this up here so you can zoom in a little bit. It's always nice to grab the little guy, and you can actually see just the sheer size of this distribution center. So a lot of our tenants will be working here. major employment driver for the area. Gotta love the Google car. It's absolutely massive. And then just on the north side over here, that's where Amazon's coming in and building one of their distribution centers as well. That's about their 6th distribution center that Amazon is building in the Memphis area. All right, so back to the Fraser neighborhood. Here's a really cool internal map that we have. Since we own the property management company, which started in 2002, we have a massive amount of data. We just listen to the feedback from our tenants of, where do you want to live? Where don't you want to live? And Memphis is a very street by street city. So you really have to listen to the feedback of the tenants. And so this map here, every single one of these green dots is a property that we actually just turnkeyed this year in 2020. And it's great because we can filter based off of the rent, based off of the purchase price. So that allows us to use our own internal comps. So we're not guessing when we set our rents, we're actually using real internal data. We've been so successful at hitting our rents in 2020 that we've actually hit every single one of our rents as on our pro forma on a 24-month lease before you as the investor actually closed and bought the property. So instant cash flow from day one. All of this has been since COVID has started, because COVID has caused a massive shift from tenants. They're leaving downtown, leaving the dense urban areas and moving into the suburbs. And that's why we're having more leasing demand out here in the suburbs, so people can have a little bit of space, a nice yard. If you're going to be quarantined, you might as well have a few extra, bedrooms and square footage. So if you zoom in even more, the property that we're going to be talking about is on Suzanne Drive, and we're renting that property for $725. So what we do internally is we can click on a comparable sale and say, oh, a house that is very similar rented for a similar rent as well. So that's just one way, competitive advantage that we have here in the marketplace. All right, so now we're going to go to our Google Drive. This is what we call our due diligence vault. So this will have all the detailed information about each one of our properties here. So once again, always great to start off with the pro forma. Now, being in this section of Fraser is in a C+ neighborhood. So for a typical C class property, you should expect a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, around 1,000 square feet, either with a driveway or some type of carport and covered parking. That's what we're seeing here in the Memphis area. And that's exactly what this house here, the subject, does on Suzanne. Property was built in the late 1950s. It's the average for our C-class properties. So that comes with its own set of pros and cons. Some investors want a property that is newer, built in the early 2000s or brand new construction. But normally those properties don't have as much cash flow. So with these C-class properties, the benefit here is that they have more cash flow from day one. All right, so this home sale price of $74,900 has a target rent of $725 a month, and we've used both of those pricing and target rents just based off of comparable sales. All right. Then that's going to give this property a net cash flow of $215 a month. This is after vacancy reserves, after maintenance reserves, after property management, all the property management fees, and all the associated expenses like taxes and insurance, things of that nature. So when you get a mortgage, put 20% down. 20% of the $75,000 is going to be about $15,000, plus your closing costs around just over $3,000, which will give you your initial cash invested. So this is what you need to spend to actually buy this property, $18,230. When you divide the net cash flow annually, $2,500, by your initial cash invested, make sure you include your closing costs on this. A lot of folks will leave that out to make their numbers look better, but that is one of the key things. You always want to make sure to calculate closing costs in your cash on cash return. So when you divide the two, your net cash flow by your initial cash invested, you will get a 14.2%, and that is your cash on cash return. So that is the best metric to use when comparing this investment with others. So that is the amount of positive cash flow that this investment will generate. Then property appreciation, we have 2.5%. That is extremely conservative in this neighborhood. Actually, this Fraser part of town, you should expect to have over a 5% appreciation. That's what it's been doing since 2016. So this neighborhood was actually the fourth fastest appreciating market in all of Memphis since 2016, which is one of the reasons why we really like it, because even our C-class properties have cash flow and appreciation, since Memphis is that hybrid market now that gets both. So then once you factor in mortgage principal reduction, meaning the tenant pays the rent and the rent covers your mortgage, and the mortgage is made up of your principal and interest payment. So the interest goes to the bank and the principal is what you get to keep. In theory, it's just locked into the house. That is increasing your net worth. So that is a return. And then the tax savings, this property here has a projected return of 34.9%. Once again, this is a pro forma. These are not guaranteed. So this is a projection, but we use all of these vacancy losses of 4%, the maintenance of 6%, because that's what you should expect in the Memphis market with our company using our management division and getting a fully renovated turnkey property. So once again, projected 34.9% total ROI. That's why we love single family homes. That's why we love real estate. You can invest in this property all from the comfort of your home without ever having to actually come to Memphis. So now what's next that we recommend taking a look at is going to be our scope of work. And the goal here is for these to all be new. That's best case scenario here. So when it says new, once again, that means we're going to put on a new roof. We use 30-year architectural shingle roofs for these houses because they last longer, a little bit more expensive. But since we buy all of our materials in bulk, we can get a discount and give you a better product. We're going to install a new heating system, a new furnace. All of our properties have central AC, so you don't have to worry about window units. That's the really important item here in Memphis because it's hot. So we don't get much snow. You know, it may snow once and you can make a tiny little snowman, but it is going to be warm. So you want to make sure that that AC condenser is clean and working. Water heater is brand new. Then for hard surface floors, we focus on the luxury vinyl plank and the tile. You do not want carpet, especially in the C-class properties, because you are going to have to replace those between every turnover. All right, so then we'll also have our appliances. We will provide a brand new dishwasher. The tenant's going to bring their own range. We'll provide a Vent-A-Hood, and the tenant will bring their own refrigerator. The tenant will also bring their own washer and dryer. So once again, that's the norm here in Memphis. It's incredible. It's a little bit backwards, but it's great because those are the items that get used daily and have some of the highest expenses. Once again, you do not want, and you will not get that maintenance call for a broken ice machine. So then there's some extra really great answers to some FAQs down here at the bottom of the scope of work. If you do want the line item detailed scope upon request, you can just let us know and we're happy to share that. But once again, our renovations are just under for this house here is just under $30,000. All right. So what's next that we like to look at is going to be the photos on the property. So as you're analyzing the deals, you're just going to be seeing the pre-renovation photos. So the price that we have on the pro forma, that will include the renovations. So when we present the homes to you as an investor, we are going to be doing our renovation. It'll take about 30 to 45 days to complete. So you have to have a little bit of an imagination when you look at the pre-renovation photos. And we're more than happy to furnish you with some other photos of the properties that we've completed in the past, so you can have a nice walkthrough of them. But as you can see, not the best shape, needs a lot of love. Looks to be a family that just didn't take good care of the property here. You can see some roof leaks up here, some roof stains from the old roof. That's probably a leak. So that's one of the things that we're going to check out on the renovations, and one of the reasons why we're going to be putting on the new roof as well. All right. So then that's a full overview of the property from your computer. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to actually go to the property where we have Sean Taggy and Eric Hobbs. Eric Hobbs, who works on our acquisitions team, and they're going to do a little walkthrough and talk a little bit more about what they look at when they're trying to buy these properties that are distressed, how they're creating the rehab budget. And so you can also get a better view of the property and the neighborhood. So back to you, Sean.
Hey guys, Sean Taggy here, and our acquisitions manager, Mr. Eric Hobbs.
Yeah, Eric Hobbs here, acquisitions. We buy houses. How you guys doing?
Yeah, so Eric helps us buy almost all of our properties here on our team. He's going talking to motivated sellers, negotiating down the prices, and getting good properties for us to fix up and sell to investors. So this property is 3682 Suzanne. It's located in Fraser, 38127 zip code. Definitely a C plus neighborhood. So this is kind of more on the lower end of neighborhood classes that we sell, but have great cash flow. And so yeah, let's go into this property. And Eric, you can kind of walk us through the things you're looking for as we're going to buy the houses.
Sure. No, absolutely. Thanks for that, Sean. Some of the first thing, obviously, when we're outside and we're first pulling up to a property and we first get here, and you can see the roof here. So like we've already put a new roof on the property. That's one of the first things that I'm looking at when I pull up to a home. And then obviously curb appeal, the yard stuff. Some of the first things we do is actually get the yard ready, put a dumpster out front to kind of get ready to clean the property out so that our crew can start working to start doing all the things they need to do. Right. A lot of times when I'm looking at these, I'm actually looking for major things like foundation issues. Right. When I'm outside and I'm checking, I'm looking for condenser age. I'm taking the AC. So I'm taking a picture of the serial number so I can look it up later to try to figure out the actual age of the unit, so that we so we don't keep old units in the properties and we can replace those.
So let's go on inside and chat some more about it. Come on in.
Sure. Yeah. Come on in.
So Eric, when we first bought this house, what was it looking like?
Oh man, it was rough. Had a lot of stuff in it, right? The walls needed painting. The floors obviously needed repairs. Updating on kitchens and bathrooms. Pretty much, kind of almost what I call the grandmother special, where you got to come in and update, everything inside the property. Yeah, we, currently I see right now we got a full blown deal going on.
So this property is a little bit under reno. We just bought it a couple weeks ago. We got the paint in and everything. Still needs floors, obviously, and that's Eric's looking for. So he's going out. We have about a 4-page budget, and you line item each thing out, right? Measure the square footage and just estimate the rental cost to make sure we have enough funds to do a full good renovation for our investors.
Sure, yeah, definitely doing that on every single property with the budget, just estimated right to make sure that we are buying these at the right, at the right price point.
Right, I love it. So, also, Eric, weren't you a home inspector back in the day?
Yeah, man. So cool. Funny story. I did go get my home inspector, get certified as a home inspector, right? Yeah. And it's just to perfect my craft in renovations. And so the home inspector deal, I actually learned a lot. Just when I'm looking
to look for.
Yeah, little things to look for when you're looking at houses. Major things are foundations and roofs and AC units and water heaters, floors.
Yeah.
Those are big things, and so that's the stuff I'm looking for in all the properties.
Making sure we do those up front. And then Eric, he's also renovated a lot of properties on your own as well, right?
Yeah, man. So man, it's crazy. That's another crazy number, right? I believe the number is probably over 1,000 properties in the Memphis area that I've renovated. Been a project manager over, in the last probably 5 to 7 years in the Memphis market.
So that's why we got Eric on our team. He's a great person to have. A great arsenal. He's got great experience. And now he's one of our main acquisitions manager. Yeah. So let's go on through this kitchen, kind of talk through this. All right, so looks like new countertops. That's pretty much typically, we always have that almost all the time, unless they're in good shape. Kind of looks like they're repositioning some of the cabinetry here, fixing out the rotten wood, if any, repainting them. So kitchens, what are things to look for?
Well, the main things is when I'm looking at these kitchens, obviously I'm looking inside of the cabinets and what you're looking for inside the cabinets to make sure the cabinets are not rotted out in certain places.
Especially under the sink,
Especially
right?
under the sink.
Like dripping there. We're looking if it's rotten down below, if we need to replace them or repair them.
That's right. So they can be repaired. Some of them are, irreparable. And so in that situation, you're going to replace the cabinets or whatever.
Right.
And so we just need to make sure that we're looking at those things budget-wise to make sure that we're calculating, new cabinets versus repair of cabinets.
Right.
Because if that could be a ticket that could throw the numbers off a little bit.
And also, if the cabinet's rotted down below the sink especially, then that probably means the plumbing in there.
It's probably a leak, right?
I got to redo that plumbing, things like that as well, and then the sinks and all that. So
you're absolutely right, Sean. Totally right. Yeah.
So this is just kind of a smaller house, but there's that. Let's keep walking through the rooms. You can kind of point out. There's tile. You're looking for little tile cracks, flooring.
Yeah, and so in here, what you have, I'm looking at the floors, right? And as I look at them, and I get down here, I'm trying to see what type of floors are down here. So if they're the original hardwood, the nail down floors that, back in the day in the houses like 1960s, 70s, and maybe even like early 80s, they put this hardwood floors down in most of the properties. These can be easily resanded, refinished, and they look brand new. Yeah. And so we want to keep them if we can. If not, obviously we go back with our LPV. Vinyl throughout the property.
Right. So you just kind of determine if they're too scratched away. You don't do it. These ones, obviously, we're gonna probably just LVP.
LVP these for sure. Yeah. They painted over these a couple times, and they really just took some paint. And that's just the previous seller, right? The previous owner just took it and ran across the floors with it. Yeah. It's not the best way, but hey, it works for some people.
I guess we can show this bathroom. So what are you looking for in the bathrooms typically? This one obviously still needs a lot more reno. Just bought it. Just kind of good for you guys to see the before of what we're looking at. We definitely put some elbow grease in our renos.
Yeah, the bathroom, obviously, like the kitchen, is one of the other big ticket items. And one of the major things that we're looking for, because where water is located at, you have to look for like joist issues, right? Because that's where you probably find subfloor issues in the bathroom area. And another thing, we want the bathroom to look really nice. So most times we are probably in cases that need it, where we're taking down the shower surrounds and putting up new shower surrounds, to give it that look, that finished look that kind of, obviously helps rent the property out, just as fast as it sells.
Right. So let's peer on through these other bedrooms real quick. So yeah, you can tell this one.
Yeah, so yeah, this is what I was talking about previously. You know, this was the original floors, and then obviously you got a major repair issue here that's already been kind of leveled out. So obviously, now you could come back through and repair this. It's just the cost of it.
Right.
So the best way to do it is do our LPV and just put it all the way through, and it should look brand new at that point.
It'll look nice. All right, so then exterior wise, we're looking at the yard and everything like that. Kind of talk about that. Fences as well around the yard.
Yeah, so a lot of things that I think even the new investors or new people get into this. Fencing is one of those things that we overlook because fencing is actually one of the most expensive things that you're gonna do at a property. Yeah, it's probably up, top. It's definitely top 5. Item wise.
Besides the roof, HVAC, water heater, flooring, it's probably right.
It's right there at 5. So you got to think about it. You put $1,500, $2,000 to put a fence up, and it's needed. It's well needed. And so fencing, and when I say fencing, I'm talking about privacy fencing, right? And I'm not talking about your regular chain link fences. Right. I'm talking about privacy fences. And the reason we do these is obviously rentability. It helps the property rent. Right. If I'm renting a property, the tenant wants to have privacy in their backyard. Dogs or whatever the case may be.
So diving in a little bit more on you as people so they can understand our team, how many houses are you looking at a day and a week about?
Sure, yeah, man. So on average, and I ran a math on this, I'm looking at in a month's time, a week's time, about 20 properties, in a month's time, about 80 properties a month. Right. And for me to look at that many, I basically buy about 20 or more in a month's time with those numbers. Kind of vary, up or down in that case. But it takes me to look at 70 to 80 properties to purchase 15 to 20 homes.
Right, and so the people, what are the typical people who are selling to you? What are the typical issues you're seeing with them?
Sure, and so a lot of the people that I'm meeting with, Sean, are distressed, right? I mean, unfortunately, I meet with people that are either going through divorces or people that are selling because of inheritance. Somebody passed away, probate, right? Or, I'm meeting people that can't afford, unfortunately, down the low. They can't afford the repairs, that's right. So they can't put it on the market, list it with a realtor, and get the money that they need to get to move to their next home. So most of the time I'm meeting people in those type of situations, and obviously, the biggest thing that we promote here at We Buy Houses is that we want to help the people, right? And so I want to come off more as a person that's helping somebody first versus just buying their home.
Right, and that's what we focus on. And sometimes we'll even guide them to, hey, go list it with a realtor. You can do the repairs yourself. You might get a better scenario. Even if they take that or not, we're still happy to kind of consult them, give them some guidance.
Yeah, I definitely give them all those
options. We're an option, and sometimes that is what they need. They don't have the money to do the repairs, the time, the willingness, and we have the team and the repairs to do it. And we can do the repairs cheaper than most people.
That's right.
Our crews.
Yeah, and we can typically get it done faster for them, so they don't have to wait, 3 months to sell it, or we can get it done in a quicker period.
Right. So yeah, that's our process, guys. Hopefully it's good for you guys to kind of see our before of one of our renovations and get familiar with kind of the Fraser area. These types of houses, kind of smaller in the Fraser area, a little older. This one is one of our more smaller houses.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, that's our process with buying. We buy houses. What we're looking at, we got a home inspector, a guy who's renovated 1,000 homes, so he's looking at all these up front, making sure we can do our full reno, so that way you're getting a nice finished out house. Thank you so much. Have a good one.